Happy Sabbath. Peter Michael Gibbs here. Delisa and I are preparing for Sabbath right now, as we usually do. We are going to say our wedding vows or renew our vows before we go into Sabbath, and then we're going to go into Sabbath observance. But we want to pick up from last week where we talked about the things that are happening in the Seventh-day Adventist Church that the Lord is not happy with. He's probably not happy with your church either. Well, we're not going to deal with that right now. But what's the Lord going to do about it? And we went to Matthew 20 and we identified the fact, or we're going to do that right now, that there are 5 calls for laborers in Matthew 20. And what we're dealing with is showing how the Lord is going to separate those who are following from those who are not following. And in Matthew 20, you have the laborers who were called early in the morning, which is the Israelite nation. Then you have those who were called at the 3rd hour, which is the Christian church, the early Christian church. Then you have those who were called at the 6th and the 9th hour. They were called almost together at the same time. Who are they? The Millerite movement and then the Seventh-day Adventist Church, because their messages dovetail into one another. The 2300 days right into the 3 angels' message. Then you have the 5th set of laborers who were called at the 11th hour, 2 hours after the 9th hour laborers were called. Why? Because there was a problem where in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Lord had to call and separate those who would be sealed from those who would not be sealed. Those who would sigh and cry for the abominations that are done in the midst thereof in the Seventh-day Adventist Church from those who would not. And that's where you get who? The 144,000. Now, there's a lot of controversy about 144,000, and we'll get into that as we continue to explain what the Lord is going to do with his beloved Seventh-day Adventist Church. But this 144,000 is not to be exclusive, but inclusive, and the Lord is going to separate. So the judgment of the dead, which we know, believe, and understand, and can prove from Scripture, began in 1844. But when is the judgment of the living going to begin? We have no idea. That's why we're preparing for it now. So they're both separation amongst the dead and then amongst the living. Well, we can't know what's happening amongst the dead in all its particulars, but the living has to be a physical separation that will be obvious to everybody on the planet. Now, you may not agree with that, and that's fine, but we're not trying to exclude your denomination, whatever that may be, but we'll continue this so you can understand. There's a separation about to happen in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Adventists, get ready, and whatever Christian denomination you are, get ready, because it's coming to you too.